because you wake up in the morning while you're in your new country thinking, if I wake up tomorrow and this job isn't here, what's going to happen? We decided to move back but after years of doing that, we hit the pause button. While we quit our digital nomad dream and returned back to the United States, let me share this with you guys. We left everything a couple years ago, dropped everything, sold what we could, gave away things, and we moved out to Medellin, Colombia, and we traveled around with the kids. It was phenomenal, sharing faith, sharing moments together, and we had built this life of somewhat freedom. It was amazing. I mean, I would never take that back. It was a learning experience on how to walk by faith again. But after years of doing that, we hit the pause button. You know why? Ooh, I'm going to get to that here in a moment. I want to let you know today, guys, is that when you first take your step out in the digital nomad life, everything is kosher. It's great. You feel like there's a deep calling to the place that you're going. You get there and it's phenomenal. But the problem is over time, what people don't see, there's a different cost outside of how much financially things cost. No, it's actually really good living overseas off a certain budget, you know, but it costs you emotionally. You literally leave the people that you know and that you love, that you trust, and you go and you start all over again, building new relationships, and that's a cost there. It really is a cost. Another thing, financially, you jump out there, and if you don't have all your ducks in a row, or if you're trusting of a company or someone that you're connected to who is cutting your check, there's a risk there, and it's a cost every day, because you wake up in the morning while you're in your new country thinking, if I wake up tomorrow and this job isn't here, what's going to happen? So sustainability is super important, but it's a cost. It brings a lot of stress, because one bad day with that individual, maybe a boss, maybe a contracting job, one thing that goes wrong with that literally can leave you and your family somewhat homeless if you don't have money saved up and if you haven't done your due diligence. Now, okay, physically, you have to stay in tune, which this isn't such a big deal when you live in the Latin America space, because you're eating really healthy and you're also moving around. There's so much walking. You can walk everywhere from where you live when you live in a place like that, whereas when you live here in America, you literally got to drive everywhere. The infrastructure isn't built for walkability like that. So it's not as bad. Physically, it could be demanding, because as a nomad family, you travel a lot, you can put on pounds, and it's just not likely to be the best option for you and your family if you're not living in a stable place. So it's important to know where you're moving to, and is there going to be an upside for your physicality. This wasn't an issue for us, but for some of you going to like more of an upper region country, maybe you're moving to Canada, maybe you're moving to Norway. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, but when it's cold, it's cold. So if you're not physically finding ways to keep your body moving, keeping that mobility up, you can find yourself in a really bad place. So that being said, even spiritually, here's the next thing. Spiritually, it can be challenging, it can be demanding. You know why? Because you're moving to a whole nother place and you have to build from ground up. One, you start with your relationship with God, a foundation on the Bible, and you know, you have friends that you're leaving, and when you get there, you have to meet new people that see eye to eye with you. So we started in a church, and that really helped us. I highly suggest, if you're a digital nomad and you're moving to another country, get plugged into a church, even if you're not a believer. I think it's super important. You're accepted as you are. You don't have to show up clean and perfect. But when you show up to a church out there, it gives you an opportunity to meet some of the locals and start at least having conversations with people who you can know, like, and trust along the journey. And say you're not there for God, eventually God will meet you where you are, and I think you will be for God as you spend more time with his people. But again, I highly suggest, even if you're not a believer, just showing up and going to a church community wherever you're moving to. But okay, with that being said, after months of prayer and conversation with my wife after being overseas in Medellin, Colombia, we decided to move back because we had to shed some tears. There was a lot of things going on, specifically with visa issues. It was just really challenging for us. And I don't know if many of you have heard of that. Like, you can run into visa problems. We got the visa, the digital nomad visa, really smooth on the first go. On the second go, not so smooth. We got denied twice because they said there was an unlikelihood that we would stay invested in the country and that we have no reason to really stay there and stay stable. In essence, what they were saying is that you and your family either need to get a residence visa. They wanted us to commit with them for a long time. Like, once you go there for 1 year, they want you to be like, okay, either I'm going to do a resident visa or I'm going to do a business visa. And neither one of those things were applicable for us at that very moment because we didn't have our ducks in a row when it comes to a heavy financial backing in the bank. I think you needed more or less 30,000 to put towards it, like right now, like 30,000 USD. And that was a substantial amount of money with the circumstance that we're going through, which was a whole nother thing. The guy that I was working with ended up introducing me to another guy at this time, all while this was happening. And I ended up getting into a business deal, which was a terrible decision because, you know, I ended up putting our assets into one company, and it wasn't fully like I'm giving our assets away, but the agreement stated that we have to work with this company and they're going to pay us X amount of dollars. And the dollar amount was okay. It was like half what we're used to making in the United States, which is still way top tier for a Colombian lifestyle. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And I jumped into it. Needless to say, this guy is just unorganized, and I don't like talking down on people, but I just want to pull out and point out this character trait. Watch who you do business with. Watch the people that you labor with. Unless two agree, how can they walk together? The Bible says, how can two people walk together unless they agree? If you don't see eye to eye, yes, you can be hand to hand, but at the end of the day, if your hearts don't align, it's not going to work out. That's why I'm going to tell you guys out there today, if you ever decide to go overseas, make sure your ducks are in a row. That's one of the main things I want to state in this video. Like, make sure you have yourself squared away and make sure you have backup plans, have multiple streams of revenue that you're building. And even like digitally, outside of even those assets, we had other different things running like YouTube and, you know, different channels that would bring us streams of income. But this was like our big baby that was producing most of our family revenue. And again, it went to ham overnight. That agreement was destroyed and we had to get out of there. We had to get back to the United States and start from scratch again. And our plan, Lord willing, by the end of the year, we'll be headed back to Colombia. But I want to tell you a few things as we walk together and talk through this. There's a side of digital nomad life people don't always see. And I want to share this with you. There's different issues, visa issues. That's number one. The healthcare stress is better out there for me because it ain't even stress at all. Like, they take care of you really well in Colombia, so that wasn't a big deal. But a lot of people have those healthcare stresses in different countries they go to. So take note of that. The next thing is the emotional weight of raising 5 kids without a support system. That was really hard. But we did have people that were like nannies, niñeras, cocineras, but it would never replace a abuela, grandma. Like, it will never replace a grandma, a mom's sister, like an auntie. It will never replace your actual family having, you know, friends in different countries and things like that. So that was really hard for us. But again, I would choose to go back there. That is my place. I love Colombia. The next thing would be instability of income and building the path that God has for you. Sustainability is the other big thing that I will share with you guys. I started to realize I was literally burning out towards the back end of our stay there, carrying the mission that we had initially when we got there. After a couple years, when other things started to distract me from what we were actually doing there, And while I saw God move in incredible ways, there was also some walls. There were spiritual, financially, and physical walls that I needed to deal with. One, my VA claim, I was getting it started as we were getting ready to leave, and I needed help from the government because I had a back issue, and I still have this back issue that's chronic and it's long term. It's not going anywhere. But I needed to make sure we got this addressed amid all that was happening, because if I go out again, like a debilitating issue with my sciatica, my back pain, I'm gonna be gone, and who's gonna provide for my family? So I had to come back here and deal with the VA, and I'm going through that process right now, and I'm excited about that because that will give our family a long-term cushion and stability amid the pain and the depression that I felt over the years dealing with this back issue. So with that being said, once we get that stable, once we get some of the business stuff stable again, we want to go back. I didn't quit because we failed. I paused because I needed to hear from God clearly and actively work out some of the things that God wanted to work in our calendar, our agenda, our process before we even went there in the first place. So yes, we had to pause and sort of recalculate a bit, but now we feel like we're on a firm, stable path, and the vision is written down, is made plain. So we're heading in that direction. Coming back to the US, and I'm going to close with this, wasn't our original plan. But sometimes following Jesus means taking the unexpected road. So I want to let you know, maybe you're not walking out the original plan, but I want to tell you, following Jesus, there's always going to be unexpected turns. I had one final thought here about to close out the day, and I could not let this just slip past me. I wanted to encourage you coming back to the United States, and I wanted to give this to y'all earlier. Again, it wasn't the original plan. It was an unexpected road, but we needed this in the season that we're in to get healthy, to reset as a family, to join with community, and just be encouraged. I wanted to remind you of this. Just because it feels like you're stepping backwards doesn't mean that God isn't moving you forward in a way. Someone may need that today. Here's what I've learned, and to close out this video, I could not end this video without saying this. Obedience is better than hustle. I could have hustled my life away out there, but what profits a man to gain the whole world but yet lose his soul? I wanted to make sure I stayed in step with God, in step with community, and what God may want to accomplish in and through my family. Again, rest is not a retreat. Coming back to the United States is not a retreat. Definitely not. Matter of fact, it's heavy on my soul because you have to actually run when you're here half the time. I mean, most people that I know have 2 jobs. If they don't have 2 jobs, they're working a really good, steady job, but that job robs them of their time. Everyone is in a unique position right now, but I want to let you know, sometimes the rest is revival. It's not a retreat. This is revival for me, I feel like, and my wife could probably attest to that as well. And just because a dream is delayed doesn't mean it's denied. I just want to speak to someone out there today. You may be in a similar circumstance. I want to let you know God is still working, and we're still called, and we are called to worship Him first and foremost, even before we go seek the world. I mean, go travel the world, not the system of the world, but the actual world. You know, as digital nomads, go and find peace and find the peace in Him, because nowhere else can give you happiness nor peace outside of God, because He's the one that made it. So this next chapter, I just want you to be a part of the mission. Like this video if you haven't yet. My very final words is, if you ever have walked away from something you love, you know that the one who loves you knows best for you. And hit the pause button and just believe the one who's touched that button for you and paused you and set you down. Just know that He's God. Be still and know that He's God. This isn't the end of the road, and let's stay faithful where He has us, no matter where it is, because he's not done with your story yet. He still has the pen and he's going to keep writing. Love you guys. I hope that encouraged you. Write in the comments any suggestions of videos for the future. I would love to stay connected with you. Hit that like button. It really helps us get to another audience, more audience that we can serve, and that would be the greatest gift of all. We've been doing this YouTube channel for years now, and we would love to see more traction on the long form videos. We've seen some awesome things on the shorts, but would love to see more of you and bringing some of your friends over to learn more about what God is doing in and through our family and ministry, but more importantly, how we can serve you in a deeper way. God bless you guys. See you soon. Peace.